in little deviation from the program, originally 6 speeches were planned, so we have 4 speeches, 10 minutes plus 2 minutes, because we have more time right now. We should have some space for discussion, I think.
Or questions.
Question, not discuss, questions, because a speech without questions. No?
I thought that you may be interested to know about what's happening these days in the UK. And I believe that every president of each country, we should make it a point in updating the chamber about the developments in his or her particular country. So what I'm going to try and do is to give you a picture of the developments, the political and economic developments in the UK as they appear right now. I was only given 10 minutes, so I may appear as if I am rushing, but I'm sorry, 10 minutes. There are 2 major events which are already lined up in the UK. The one is the referendum for Scotland's independence, which is going to take place in September. That's when the Scottish people will be asked to reply whether they would like an independent Scotland or to remain within the United Kingdom. That will mean that if they decide yes, they will depart from the United Kingdom, they will have their own economy and possibly their own currency. Predictions at this stage are 50-50. The deciding factor will be all these people which are now undecided. And of course, the whole of the universe, the whole of the planet Earth is watching those developments there. Because on the one side, you have President Putin, who is saying that the West has double standards. What he means by that is that the West would be willing to accept an independent Scotland, while they are not willing to accept an independent Crimea. So he's got a point there to raise whenever asked about Crimea. The second major event is the general elections, which will take place in May 2015. That's in a year's time. David Cameron, the Prime Minister, has some good cards on the table right now. What are these? Number one, the unemployment figures in the UK are going down constantly. The situation is getting better by the day, and it's expected to get even better. That creates a very good environment for Cameron. Number two, housing prices are constantly rising, and with an annual expected increase of 15%, which is the case for London. It literally means that if you own a property in London which is worth 1 million, that property is producing for you £150,000 a year without you having to do anything. Nothing at all. Which makes it, again, very attractive for overseas funds to be taken into the UK for investments. Which makes it absolutely impossible for a British citizen to buy property in central London, because the competition is so high from funds which are coming from abroad. Right now, the whole of India, the whole of China, the whole of Malaysia, the Arab Gulf are investing in properties in London. London is expected to grow tremendously in the next 10 years. There is a very big shortage of housing. Where are all these people going to go? So again, investing in property in London is very promising indeed. The economy is also doing well, much better than the Eurozone, not as good as Germany, but a lot better than the Eurozone in general. There is an annual growth approximately 2.5%, which David Cameron wants to promote even better, get even better results, so that he can claim success. But then again, he has a few headaches as well. What are these headaches? In the recent European parliamentary elections, UKIP, now UKIP is the nationalistic party in the UK. They came up first. They have won first place. What do they want? They want the UK to get out of Europe. And they want to stop immigration. And they want to become less and less obedient to what Brussels say. They have won first place. This is a very dangerous situation. So David Cameron will have to cool down the fears of the people in the UK and make them feel that with him we can be secure, because he will achieve a better situation for the UK in the European Union. What is the other headache that David Cameron has? Immigration. He promised that he would stop immigration. Last week, the police in Calais had to go and disperse the crowds which were waiting to find a way to get into the UK. Daily, there are people on boats trying to get from Calais in France to the UK, with all the dangers that we all know. The situation is again getting out of control. And that's a problem for him again. Overall, however, we are having elections in a year's time. That means that for a year at least, the situation will appear to be perfect. This is our year of content, prosperity, and well-being. So if anybody wants to invest in the UK and do business in the UK and make money in the UK, now is the time, and there is one whole year of relative stability. The faster we do that, the better it will be. So please, let me please have some English documents for me to process. This is what I would like to do. I simply want to make a final comment, which is, remember one thing. We are what we are creating, what we are achieving all along. Make as much possible then. Keep working and be proud of yourselves, because you have come that far. And together we can go even further. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much for your interesting speech. Are there any questions? We would have a few minutes to answer questions.
Bildiğiniz için Türkiye dünyada büyük devletlerden biridir. Ya pardon, İngiltere. Çok özür dilerim. Ama neredense baksan İngiltere'nin finans ve teknoloji gelişmiş sistemi Avrupa'nın teknoloji finans sistemine neredeyse eşit bir durumdadır. Ve aynı zamanda bizim başka gelişmekte olan veya gelişmemiş ülkelerde bir sürü temsilcimiz var. Avrupa'da olan teknoloji ve finans sistemiyle paralel. İngiltere'deki olan teknoloji ve investi sisteme bizim temsilcilerin ihtiyacı var. O sistemi kullanmak adına, faydalanmak adına sizin böyle bir management sistemi veya bir ofis kurup, team kurmak için düşünceniz var mı? Bu işte ne kadar bizimlesiz? Beraberiz yani. Bunu birebir görüşte de sorabilirdim ama herkesin yanında sorduğum için biraz da garantili olsun, sigortalı olsun.
Technology in London, as we all know, is at extremely advanced stages. It is a blessing for me that with an active office in Brussels these days, I will be able to start looking into these matters in a deeper level. And I would recommend that for me it's very easy from London to come over here. It takes me 2 hours by train. So we should form a committee or a team of people to look into these possibilities, and I could facilitate all the collection of information and research from London to work towards that goal.
Teşekkür ederiz.
Thank you very much.
Okay. That's it. The gentleman.
Siz İngiltere'den bahsettiniz. Şimdi yabancılar için İngiltere kanunları konusu, yani emlak alma olayı. Farz edin ki Kazakistan'dan ya da Türkiye'den ya da Irak ülkelerinden birileri öyle bir yatırıma girmek istedi. Bu konuda İngiltere kanunları nasıldır? Yani buna izin veriyorlar mı? Sadece onu sormak istiyorum.
Yes. Right now, you can own a property. You can own a property in the UK regardless of your nationality. You can do it as a person, you can do it as a company, you can do it as an offshore company, you can do it in any way you like. There are obviously regulations to follow, and it can be done, yes. And then, of course, but Britain is not in the Schengen Agreement. You wouldn't be able to use a residency visa from Britain to travel all over all over Europe, which is in the Schengen Agreement. So, what you're having in mind is by buying a property in the UK to be able to travel freely without visa in the 17 other countries of the Schengen Agreement, no, that wouldn't be the case.
Çünkü Danimarka'da herkes gelip örneğin orada mülk alamaz. Herkes orada oturum alamaz. Onun için ben size sordum. Aydınlattığınız için teşekkür ediyorum.
It can be done in the UK.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the interesting speech. The next speaker, may I inform you, Professor Mossaheb.
Thank you very much for the excellent organization of this meeting. Allow me to tell you I am not the president of Malaysia anymore. I was always, yes, president for the Islamic Republic of Iran, yeah. And I am still the president for Iran. As Professor Strunz told, I am also the head of Central Department of Space and Aerospace. If you have any question, I would be available for you. I am also the rector of the Carolus Magnus University in Persian Gulf area, because I am by myself university professor and teaching space and aerospace.
Before he was.
As I told, I am originally Iranian. I'm traveling at least 35 times a year between Iran and Europe, mainly Iran and Austria. The situation in Iran is changing now. It takes some years to be really on the safe side regarding the economy and industry. But anyhow, we feel the changes, and we hope that on July 20, a contract or agreement between Iran and 5+1 will be signed in Vienna, so that we do not handle anymore regarding sanction and some other things. I am also the Secretary General and board member of OIG. OIG means Austrian Iranian Society, sitting in Vienna, was created for 16 years ago. And in that issue, we are organizing together with the Austrian Chamber of Commerce and the Austrian Ministry of Economy and Austrian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, a conference in Vienna starting on 4th and ending on 5th of September. This conference would be, I would say, maybe from interest for some of you. And the name of the conference is Economical Cooperation between Iran and EU after the sanction. We are expecting at least 2 Iranian ministers, the Minister of Oil and the Minister of Industry, and maybe the lady which is the Vice President responsible for environment and environment protection. We are going to have 6 panels. The first one is oil and gas industry, the other one renewable energy and new energies, the other one infrastructure, then environment, industry in general, and banking and finance. So I'm going to announce it to the president of the EEIG. Maybe he will put it on the homepage of EEIG. If you are interested, you can register there. Regarding the cooperation between Iran and other countries, let's say, the Western countries, they left Iran, so Iran had to start working together with Turkey, with Russia, and also with China. Chinese industry or China is selling a lot of goods and items to Iran, but with a very bad quality. And Iran is now looking for having other supplier. They have excellent relation to India. India delivering a lot of medical equipment and pharmaceutical medicaments to Iran. So if you have something to offer, you can offer it directly to me, or you can put it through the EEIG. I met today a friend from Serbia. We had a discussion together, so I hope we can do something together in the area of telecommunication, because you're very strong in that area. And let me tell you, I am one of the first started together with Professor Heinz Weipustek and with the lady Weipustek. And I was always happy. And I would say anytime I was in need to getting some information, so I just called, I just sent a fax or email, so I got everything what I wanted. But it doesn't mean that I got in contact day by day to the people. I would say we also maybe there are some problems, not everybody is happy with that. We also have to support the board members. Don't forget, EEIG is an NGO. It means it doesn't have a million or billion of money to spend it. We have to support them, and we have to work together. I'm not going to save or to waste your time anymore. If you have some question, I would be happy to try to answer your questions.
Thank you very much, Herr Professor. Are there any questions? Bitte.
Меня интересует отрасль нефтегаза и как нефтепереработка. Скажите, пожалуйста, насколько у вас влияние и возможности по реализации проектов по строительству нефтебаз, мини-НПЗ и, не слышите?
İngilizce tercüme yok mu onda?
И компетентны в вопросах реализации проектов по нефтепереработке. Дело в том, что я представляю завод украинский по производству мини-НПЗ, массообменного, теплообменного оборудования и МКСного. И поэтому для меня интересен рынок иранский однозначно. Нам приходилось участвовать в тендерах. Мы осуществляли поставку оборудования теплообменного через посредников российских. да, поскольку находимся в Украине. Самое привлекательное для иранского рынка – это соответствие стандартам европейским нашего оборудования, качество и в приоритете, разумеется, цена. Просто мне хотелось бы сейчас вот навести такой мост и для себя наладить контакт, насколько это реально вот в рамках данного проекта вот на сегодняшнего.
The Minister of Oil and Gas is coming to Vienna on Monday late in the evening, and he's going to stay up to Wednesday evening because there is an OPEC session, OPEC General Assembly, and our society has a private meeting with him for half a day. Because a big Austrian company, we are bringing a big Austrian company for the LNG and CNG gas to Iran. If you give me all information or what you need, so I can discuss it on Tuesday evening with him and with his people and send the answer to you.
Спасибо огромное. Я вам сегодня предоставлю информацию о производстве, которое я представляю. И надеюсь, в кратчайший срок мы сможем навести эти коммуникационные мосты. И я думаю, что вам понравится сотрудничать с украинским предприятием. Вас устроят все условия и результат. Спасибо за внимание.
Thank you very much. I'm going to give you my email and let's see. Any other questions? Okay. Yes, please, madam.
Thank you very much.
One moment, I just need to ask a question.
Where are the
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, I think you can hear me even otherwise. This is about crude oil from Iran and Iraq. Actually, we have a standing order, which is not very big, but it's a beginning.
Yeah.
And we are looking at about 2.4 million metric tons per year for the next 10 or 15 years. And besides this, we might be increasing it to about 4 million per annum. I've already, through my contacts, through ambassadors whom I have been interacting with over the past 2 decades, and they have helped me and assisted me through SOMO officials, through Iran and also the Iraq Oil Company, the Omani Light Crude Oil Company.
Yeah.
And we're already in talks with them. But if I have somebody from our own family who could be also benefited, and if we could do this on a platform, because we're setting up our office in Dubai by the end of this month, it would be good if you could actually take this forward.
Okay, thank you very much. In that matter, we can support you. One member of my family left several years in India. She is now representing the Esara Steel Company in Iran. The problem between Iran and India is, as you know...
It is not for India. I'm an international consultant,
but who is the buyer?
The buyers are the countries, not India.
We can manage. Otherwise, would be some problems because the Indian have to pay 10
It's
billion.
not for India.
Okay, we can manage it. If I'm going to give my email address and
Please.
we can try to
All right.
assist you.
Thank you very much.
So I'm from Tunisia. I would like to know if it's possible to make a platform inside of the chamber, because also Tunisia have a lot of projects for the next years in petrol and gas. We can make together and give the project for each president on each country and who will give for his members. I think is the best. Our chamber can make a platform for all the projects in each country. This is more our opinion. Why don't we do that? Only not in the gas and the energy, but in all the propositions we have in each country.
If necessary, to build up some other platforms. And as you know, maybe better than me, Iranians are very interested to have cooperation with Morocco, with Tunisia, with Algeria, and with Egypt. But the Iranian doesn't get visa for Tunisia, and also not for Egypt. This is a very important issue. Maybe you can handle it.
If you need visa, talk with me. We have 7 ex-ministers in our chamber.
Okay.
Потому как сейчас задета тема энергетики, я еще раз хочу повториться насчет проведения крупного мероприятия в Казахстане по теме энергетика, альтернативная энергетика, это Экспо 17. Учитывая, что регион Казахстана, она является доминирующей в среднеазиатском, в евразийском пространстве, можно было бы здесь на базе нашего офиса сделать какую-то штаб-квартиру, которая бы вот по Экспо 17 желающие войти как EEIG на это огромное международное мероприятие, мы бы посодействовали бы, потому что предоставляется 106 гектаров земли в городе Астане, нашей новой столице, и сейчас осталось только очень мало времени, 3 года, и если с вашей стороны есть интерес, то мы можем сейчас поработать именно вхождение на эту территорию.
I would be happy to do something together with you. Okay.
Next speaker, Mr. Gauci, President of Malta.
Good morning. I made a presentation, first of all, because I'm an accountant, so we do everything exact. And second, as few people know about Malta. Malta is the smallest country in the EU. And just to make easy for people to understand where we are, because they don't even know where we are just exactly under Italy, in the middle of the Mediterranean. So Malta has become a very important financial center, one of the top 4 in the EU. It has good political stability. We serve as a bridge between Europe and North Africa. As an office, we have a lot of contacts in Tunisia, Morocco, Egypt, Iran, and so on. Offers great security for citizens and tourists. It's a great place to visit. I hope one day we'll make the conference there. Has one of the largest free ports in the Mediterranean. It also has the largest shipping register in Europe. Has highly trained professionals, has very good IT professionals, has a large base for gaming companies, offers a good manufacturing base. Some examples of companies operating from Malta. Few people know that in Malta there is about 500 manufacturing companies, some of the biggest in Europe, like Playmobil, Lufthansa, Technique, and so on. A small country, but with a diversified and a very strong economy. The second after Germany as a gross domestic product growth in the last 4 years, at 3.2%. We offer a lot of fiscal incentives for international companies. At our offices, we have about 500 international companies. It has the lowest corporate tax in Europe, at 5%. It offers tax credits for manufacturing and small medium, low rent factories for manufacturing, financial and technical assistance for export, exemption on royalty income, extensive network of double taxation. So, because we are English-based country, ex-colony of UK, there is a big interaction in laws between UK law and Malta. As it's the first time I saw a lot of you. I am also the managing partner of one of the largest audit firms in Malta, with about 50 staff. And we do international tax consultancy. And we have clients from all over the world dealing in all sectors. So we use EEIG very effectively to promote. For example, we have companies in oil and gas, telecommunications, and so forth, from all over the world. Our intention now is that we will try to put EEIG on a more strong footing. We have 2 problems in Malta. One, we have a very strong chamber of commerce, which is recognized by law. So it's a big, difficult political decision to register another chamber. Second, when I went to register the EEIG, they came out with a technical question which I am still have to be answered. Do you want to register EEIG directly in Malta, or do you want to make EEIG Malta as an NGO? Which is a big difference between the two. I hope that legally somebody will solve the problem later. We have up to now wanted that the political parties in Malta recognize us officially, and we have formed a committee of 5 persons to meet political parties to give more standing to EEIG Malta. We will start offering EEIG different services from my company, so we give it importance. We want to offer assistance on EU funds. I will explain. We want to offer guidance to business because some clients now, our clients want to go all over the world, so we will hope that we will contact some of you for assistance if our clients want to invest. We want to issue communications to the press on matters which affect the general public. This is an effective way how you can grow in a country by issuing press releases. We want to assist on EU funds. There is a lot of EU funds, and now there are special funds between countries in the EU and countries outside the EU. Most of the funds normally before used to be only for EU companies. Now, from this year, there is, for example, a program called Horizon for scientific and research, which can be accessed by having a consortium between EU countries and companies outside the EU. We also assist in consultancy work in various things, from finance to bank raising of finance, factoring, and also export and market research. So our idea is that EEIG Malta will offer different services on its own. We offer the services to both local and international companies, and we hope that through our contacts which we have all over the world, we can also assist anyone who may need a company for a tender or anything. He can just contact us. We have big companies at the office like Ericsson, like Grundig, so we have some very big companies. I also, without knowing what you are going to discuss this morning, I made some suggestions, which I put them down before I knew the discussions. We need to know better the role and the duties of the persons within the Brussels office. It should become a must that each country should have a website, should have a unique design, though contents may differ. We should establish some form of formal contacts with sections of the EU which issue funds to be utilized between EU and non-EU countries. EEIG in Brussels should be at least get all info regarding financial assistance offered by the EU. This will give offices within EEIG to cooperate between themselves. Some form of assessment on the capabilities of each office should be done, so at least who will become a member will know that he is honest, he has integrity, he has everything. There should be a distinction between committee members and other members regarding annual fees. One of the suggestions which I make is that committee members should pay a contribution, but if we want EEG to grow in each country, we need members. Those members should pay less than the committee members, so we can bring in a lot of customers of ours and clients within the EEIG in each country. Up to now, we only have the people who are in the committee. Our idea is that we should try to put in as much businessmen in EEIG Malta as possible. Also, I suggest that some form of compliance should be made before a person is accepted within EEIG, as in the past we had some bad experiences. Finally, one small thing which may be of very interest to companies outside the EU. Malta is offering a passport, and the brackets is selling a passport. If you buy a passport for 600,000 euros, you buy a property for 350,000, and you invest 150,000 in bonds. Basically, you get a Maltese citizenship, and we get a lot of demand from Russia and from adjacent countries because they want to buy the passport from Malta, and then these rich families have tranquility that they can live anywhere in Europe. So I will send a newsletter to everybody. We get a lot of from everywhere, from India, from China, from Kazakhstan, from Turkey. It's a very innovative way. We always are a country which is very innovative in laws and within the EU. We were the first country, for example, to issue gaming licenses officially in the EU. So anyone who would need anything from our office, he just can contact me, and if we can help on all levels, we will try to help. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any question? No question? Was a comprehensive presentation, so maybe some questions were already answered. Thank you, Mr. Gauci. Next speaker, as I said, last not least, ladies first, Lady Anita, India.
Okay, good evening, everybody. We meet again. And I wish to begin my speech with salutations to this august gathering assembled here today. And I would like to also name them: Dr. Karim Ali Riza, Chairman CEO, Mrs. Johanna Weif-Pustak, our Secretary General, the board members, Mr. Perrier, Mr. Grigorski, Professor Struns, presidents, vice presidents, members, and friends and colleagues. We've spoken a lot about probabilities, we've spoken a lot about the past, we've spoken about the future. But I would like to speak today about, I want to reduce it to facts. And I want to give you statistics about India so that it will help us to actually come down to ground reality about how business should actually be done with India. You all are aware that we have now got a new Prime Minister who is a person who has actually surpassed all other elections before, and he's taken over as the new PM. He's known to be a person who's very flamboyant, a person who's very articulate, and who is looking at investments, disinvestments, and he's doing away with all kinds of, like Dr. Karim says, 19th century policies, and he's coming out with absolutely new policies and making it very easy for foreigners to actually come to India and do trade. So as per the report, 2014, India attracts, it attracts one of the top global destinations for foreign investment. And despite, all kinds of recent headwinds, the main drivers are solid domestic markets, educated workforce, and a competitive labor. India today features prominently in many of our respondent plans for the future. More than half of international business leaders, after surveying their plan to enter or expand existing operations in the country over the next year, nearly a fifth of the respondents with an emerging market strategy said that India alone accounts for more than 20% of total capital allocated for the developing world. So the infrastructure, consumer products, industries, technology, media, telecom, and life sciences sectors, they are all set to drive India's growth over the next 2 years. Investors are considering India for both services and manufacturing supply chain, with the service sector forming the backbone of India's economy. The Indian government is placing more weight on strengthening the country's manufacturing ecosystem. And our research shows that global investors are starting to recognize these relevant efforts, with the vast majority expecting India to be a leading manufacturing hub by the year 2020. As per the Ernst & Young's survey, it says that India in the global context has grown by 5.9%. The US has only grown by 3.5%, the Eurozone by 1.4%, and the rest of the world by 4%. In 2020, India would have grown about 28.6%, and all the others would have just reached about 5.6%. So when you look at India's share in the global FDI, it's about 9.4% of global FDI created jobs. The key features of India is one of the top 5, The 4th largest recipient of FDI in terms of projects started in 2012. And in terms of value, it accounted for about 5.5% of the global foreign direct investment. India still accounts for about 9.4% of jobs which are created by the foreign direct investments around the world. If you look at India's share in the global foreign direct investments in 2012, there were 11,789 projects. The US had only about 565 billion of inflows, and 1.62 million jobs were created in India. If you look at the Middle East and Southeast Asia, the actual FDI performance in our survey's results both show that metropolitan cities such as Mumbai, Bangalore, the national capital, the NCR, Chennai and Pune are the key attractions. But it's not just this. We also have investment opportunities because 43% of respondents don't normally think of any other city than the main metropolitan areas. There are other cities, smaller cities like Jaipur, Chandigarh, Coimbatore, and Surat. The number of projects which are there in Mumbai is about 51.2%. In Bangalore is 37.8%. New Delhi has about 37.4%. Chennai has got 14.6%, Pune 31%, and Chandigarh has got 10.7%. TMT or telecommunication sector is the most attractive sector to investors, which is followed by industrial and business services. China, if you look at China as a competition for India, China remains India's main competitor as both economies and strongly compete to obtain a greater share of world trade and investment. The Philippines is also competing with India for the outsourcing industry, whereas Indonesia and Vietnam, they're also gaining significance due to the huge domestic market. India's appeal lies in its competitive labor costs, the lucrative domestic market, and its skilled workforce. Our main strengths are our local labor cost, our domestic market, business and management education, skilled service workforce, local labor skills, and telecommunication and infrastructure in India. The challenges we face are legislative and administrative, transport, and the ease of doing business, but that has now been completely taken over because of the new governance which we have got in this country. If you look at steps which we want to actually improve and enhance business, one would be to develop our infrastructure, factors of production, increase awareness about emerging cities, and to ease FDI. India in 2020 is going to be among the top 3 growing economies, 28.6%. It's going to be among the leading 3 manufacturing destinations in the world. That's 23.6% of manufacturing is going to take place in India. And 5.2% will be surpassed by competition from any other dynamic country. I would like to tell you that right now, India is on the brink of prosperity. We are looking at projects like healthcare, education, foreign direct investment, infrastructure products, eco-friendly environmental products, energy, renewable and sustainable, thermal, electric, clubbed with logistics and shipping. As the president for the EEIG, I would like to bring to your attention We have another 130 acres of land which I'm holding through my company, which is again residential, ready for development. And I've also got another 120 acres for organic farming or any other kind of agricultural produce. We've got a project of about 1 billion which has been approved by the Indian government, $1 billion US. And either we are looking at investors or we've got our own investment opportunities where we've got somebody who wants to come down and invest. He's a banker from Sweden. And he was looking at getting this across into India. But if any of you are interested to bring any of your foreign direct investments into India, you're most welcome. Or you could get involved with the infrastructure development of the city center, which is completely approved by the government of India. We also have another project which has been approved by Tuticorin, which is a port in India in the south, and it's in Tamil Nadu, and that's for thermal energy, for shipping and logistics, and this costs about 4,600 million. We've got a golf course which we want to set up, and for this I would be looking at all of you in your respective countries. If you could tie up with your golf clubs, and we have a common course in Bangalore, where we could hold our own maybe EEIG championships, golf championships every year, and maybe 3 or 4 times a year. It would be something which would be completely unique. And I think most of you would agree that every country has its own golf clubs in your respective countries. It could be a form of entertainment and also business. There's another segment which I don't know if you've touched. It's about healthcare. Healthcare and ambulatory services. Now this is something which has taken over the world, and it's a completely new and disruptive innovation. This is the new jargon of the Harvard Business Review. If you have to read, they would talk about disruptive innovation. This is a new contemporary form of business which takes over all old forms of business. And if anyone is interested, it would deal with maxillofacial surgeries, it could deal with cosmetic, it could deal with education in the sector, and all would be run by actual, talented, and completely educated doctors, and not by any of the quacks who normally do cosmetic surgery. These would be ambulatory services, and it would be independent of charge. It would be like a franchisee, and it would be to set up, and we could start this in any country. It's a fantastic project. It has been approved by WHO and the topmost doctors, and I hold this project with me. So if anyone is interested, you can contact me after this. I was at the MENA conference in Vietnam and Hanoi. That's the Middle East and North African, and I happen to have a lot of interaction. I've got a lot of ambassadors who are my friends. And these people are actually looking at, I don't know about defense equipment, but I feel a lot of you would be interested in maybe helping me out in getting defense equipment or manufacturing it, because India is looking at this as well. We've got standing orders for defense and not only equipment, but anything to do with the defense. I think Ukraine is already into manufacturing of anything from submarines to rocket launchers, and India is one of the main large buyers. This is, of course, completely a very big deal, and I think I would need the help of people who would be in the ministry and the defense ministry to do this. But talks are going on in India, and I was in Abu Dhabi last year. I had gone to meet the people in Rolls-Royce in the aviation division, and we are planning to set up a defense corridor in India, because India imports a lot of defense equipment, and we have about 30% of offstakes. You know, with this 30% of offsets, we can indigenously start manufacturing our own equipment in our country. And this is something which is huge. We are already talking to Israel for transfer of technology. I would be very interested if any of you could contact me if you think that we could tie up and we could do something in this sector as well. There are a lot of other things I would like to talk about, but the time is really short, and I try to put everything together in a very short time. Of course, we could still talk about trade and commerce. We can look at cultural exchange and education programs. We could look at medical tourism, because India is a destination for that, and there's a lot of business going on there. And also with students who want to go overseas to study in any of your countries. So this is about whatever I could put down within this limited period. And I have to tell you one more thing. There is a deal where we could actually give you financial assistance for any projects. It could be from 10 million to 1 million to 100 million. If you have got a good project which is approved, and the project has to be approved by our auditors, then if you can put down about 10% of whatever you have, maybe we could talk about the terms and conditions and how we could take this forward. So with this, I wish you all a great conference, a great time, and I hope the EEIG family grows exponentially and we do some awesome business together. Thank you.
Приветствую сегодняшним форумом. Я постараюсь коротко, конечно, Керимбей, но хотелось бы чуть-чуть побольше, потому что, как вы знаете, Казахстан демократическая молодая страна, где проживает свыше 130 национальностей. Почему я говорю, что молодая такая демократическая страна и 130 национальностей живет? Это говорит о том, что это страна, в которой можно инвестировать, можно работать. Как вы знаете, наша страна очень огромная, а также богатая всеми недрами, нефти, газы, всех, что вы хотели бы. Только что Унал Ханум, как говорил, в 2017 году у нас будет Экспо 2017, где наш президент уделяет очень огромное внимание для инвесторов. Там созданы очень огромные условия. Многие этим не ознакомлены. Поэтому вот смотрите, инвесторам предлагаются и кредиты, и другие варианты. Сегодня Казахстану по аграрному сектору, в области аграрного сектора, нефтегазового сектора, медицинского сектора, энергетика, строительство, доступное жилье, для этих целей у нас огромные выделены тоже деньги. Скажем, если инвестор приехал в Казахстан, строит какое-то, скажем, доступное жилье, в Казахстане выделяется для этих целей тоже деньги, свои деньги. То есть, если в банке стоит 12%, то 7% из них государство сам выплачивает этих денег. Поэтому сегодня я думаю, что вот когда выступила из Малты господин Гауci, мне очень понравился, как он четко и ясно сказал, хочет инвестировать. Я бы хотел вас пригласить в Казахстан, а также нам выехать в Мальту.